Welcome. Welcome to Living in the Ampersand. Today I am out on the north coast of Cornwall and just want to share a view with you. So that is St. Ives in the background there. Long stretch of sand right here. Gwithian Beach off in the distance where I often meet my friend Helen for a Sunday walk. You can see the lighthouse out there. And I am walking the St. Michael's Way. Oh, and by the way, today is day 85 of my 108-day commitment to create and communicate. So I've been walking westward, and I'm going to turn around here, but I'm going to share some photos at the bottom after I write something, but it actually said this is the Camino Inglés. So you start the Camino Inglés. So for those of you who don't know Spanish, that would be the English Camino. And then you can walk all the way to Santiago. Of course, with a boat ride in between to take you from the Cornish coast all the way to the north coast of Spain and into Santiago. It's about a 7-day walk once you get into Spain. And as I've been walking today, I'm like, oh yes, I'm going to do that. And my intention and hope is that it will be next spring. So, and if anybody wants a 7-day Camino in Spain from the north coast of Spain into Santiago, you can message me here. We can talk. Anyway, so here we are. Oh, oops, there's my glasses cleaner that came out of my pocket when I took my phone out. So I'm just going to walk and talk a little bit today. I love this walk. I first walked this back in 2013, and I've brought pilgrimage groups here. So if you start back at the beginning of where I parked my car and you go along this path, you get into Carbis Bay, and then you cut across the most narrow section of Cornwall from north to south. And so the story goes is that the Camino pilgrims from Wales, from Scotland, from Ireland would come down, and they would get off their boats here, and then they would walk over the most narrow part of Cornwall rather than risk the treacherous waters around Land's End, which was known for capsizing boats, sinking boats because of all of the rocks. And there's a whole mass of currents that meet there, and so the waters are actually very dangerous. So this is the Camino, and yeah, I'm just going to kind of give you a view as I come up the hill here. And of course, right now, as I'm talking to you, as I'm walking the other way, for those of you who know me, I have walked the Camino into Santiago, and I have walked al contrario, the other way as well. And so here I am. I'm not quite ready to do the Camino Inglés, but oh, I felt that deep desire. So I'm planting a seed to walk the Camino Inglés in time, on time, and if I can add, hopefully next spring. Wouldn't that be so wonderful? Yes, my foot is feeling better. It's about 96%. There's still a little pain in my heel, but oh my goodness, so much better. And I really attribute that to a little bit of time, well, a lot of time, it's been 12 weeks, but I really attribute it to the feet exercises, the rehab I'm doing through the program with Vivo Barefoot, which is very straightforward, very well designed and communicated, and it makes doing feet exercises very easy and doable. So I've been doing those every day, and I think that's when the difference really started, physically anyway. The other piece of this is that I always tend to look at physical challenges and issues as a reflection or an opportunity to look at what else is going on. And what I've become aware of in this last 12-week journey is that my hurting my feet, my having to get off my feet and to literally store my feet, reorganize my feet, strengthen my feet has been part of a very long and kind of almost like the capping off of a journey of me actually having my ground, me having my feet, standing on my own 2 feet. And, this is something I've actually been working on for quite a while. And I didn't even realize how much I didn't have my own ground. Because it was just the water I swam on, the air I breathed. And as part of what happened when I first came to Cornwall back in 2012 and then again, especially in 2013, and I felt a connection to land, to place, in a way that I had never experienced before. And so it opened up a journey for me. And, as you know, here I am, 12 years later, living here, and it's like I'm rooting into the ground. I'm reestablishing my feet. Oh, this is so wonderful. Look, there's the local train that you can take from Penzance to St. Ives. It's just so wonderful. So here I am, restoring my ground, having my ground, and even in that, so a couple weeks ago, I had an experience with a friend where I needed to speak my truth and speak up for myself. And it was actually a very awakening experience, because in that conversation, I completely lost my ground. Like so much so that I couldn't even stay in the conversation. And I was so shocked that happened like it did, that it happened so fast that it took me a few days to go, oh my goodness, that's what happened. I lost my ground, I lost my footing, and I became like a blob of mush. I lost myself, I couldn't even speak, I couldn't even talk, and that was hard, let me tell you. But the gift of the experience is I got to become aware that I lost my ground. I got to actually be like, oh, I lost my ground. And there's a great teaching from Access Consciousness that if you find yourself in a situation in your life, you've created it. So if you've created it, you can also uncreate it and create something else. So as I became deeply and painfully aware that I had lost my ground, I realized that I could actually create something else. And so in these last 2 weeks, I've actually been choosing something else, creating something else for myself that I didn't know was possible, that I didn't even know I needed to at the level and the extent that I am. So it was actually in recognizing in that feeling moment of when I realized that I'd lost my ground, and then paused, felt the pain of that, and in the process of feeling the pain and the disconnect, actually choosing something else, that is when my foot started to not hurt so much. It's almost like I had to experience viscerally the pain of not having my ground so that in essence my feet could speak to me so that I could choose something else. And here I am. I'm walking. This will probably be about 1.5 miles, maybe a 2-mile walk. Nothing extreme, very gentle. A sandy ground, which feels wonderful on my feet, and I'm being very conscious of walking with the balls of my feet first and then gently coming down onto my heels. So I'm learning how to walk differently too. Literally, that I'm having my ground and walking differently in the world. And it seems that part of this will actually travel up and restructure me in my bones and my cells and my DNA so that I actually allow myself to be different, to be the different that I am. So, standing my ground, having my ground, standing on my own 2 feet. Here's to the pilgrimage of life and living in the ampersand. Until tomorrow.